Okay, welcome to UFC 130 Rampage versus Matt Hamill Rapper. Here we go. Alright, the first fight of the night was Brian Stann versus Jorge Santiago. Great first round for Brian Stann, striking well. He caught Santiago early, dropping him in the first. Santiago's decision to stand and test Brian Stann's chin was a bad call, and almost finishing Santiago late in that round. The bell practically saving him. Santiago comes out in the second round on wobbly legs, but he shoots immediately for the takedown on Stann, but which was smartly done. And I really felt that cornering decision to look at going low immediately to try and take Brian Stann striking out was a good choice. But in the end, Brian Stann he was just too good holding off the takedown. He kept it standing. Kept stuffing those takedowns and making Santiago pay, no doubt about it. And he continued to press forward, and he hurt him badly, finishing him with a TKO. So another great showing for Brian Stann. That's a 3-fight winning streak now. So he's got the wheels well and truly rolling. He's looking pretty good. In the next fight was Thiago Alves against Rick Story. I got to say, in a nutshell, Rick Story really epitomized game plan. He's a wrestler. He came out immediately. He took Thiago Alves down. He pinned him up against the cage and worked him really well. In the second round, he did it again. He kept mixing it up against the cage. He kept imposing his grappling. Thiago Alves had no answer for anything that Rick Story had to throw. All of a sudden, I've got to say, maybe it's some amazing cornering as well. Thiago Alves starts banging. He starts keeping his distance, starts pinning Story against the cage and breaking away and throwing some shots. It worked great in the end. But you know what? 2-1 to Rick Story. He out-wrestled Thiago Alves. He really imposed his game on him in the first 2 rounds, and Alves looked amazing in that second round, but just a little too late for me. So another very impressive win by Rick Story. And it wasn't real amazing to watch. It was pretty systematic. It was kind of robotic a little, but Rick Story, man, he can throw down too. He's not afraid to stand in the pocket too, forcing you to take down. So brilliant tactics by Rick Story. Now, this is an interesting fight. Travis Browne against Stefan Struve. Stefan Struve, tall, always overlooking his opponent. 6'11". Travis Browne, the Hawaiian. I think he's 6'7", so still really tall. But the biggest problem with these tall fighters is that they drop their hands a little lower because they're trying to adjust to the height of the fighter. They leave their chin a little higher, and he's got a suspect chin when it comes to head position. Not so much not having a chin because he's a stud, but as far as head position, I just felt that Stefan Struve just lacked it a little bit, and we saw him come undone at the Roy Nelson situation when he got knocked out, and now we're seeing it again. So I got a feeling, Travis Browne comes out with that Superman punch. It was perfectly timed, faked the leg kick over the top, bing. He was done. He was bent over backwards. It looked something out of the Matrix. It was amazing. But it was that beautiful straight right hand coming over the top of Struve, that chin up in the air. It just brought him undone. I think it's a rampant habit for Stefan Struve. I think he's going to have a look at it. He's going to have to look at it if he wants to really look at getting back to some winning ways. So it's something that happens regularly for taller fighters against way shorter fighters. So, and again, not surprised here. So for a huge win right now for the Hawaiian native in Travis Browne. So props to him too. Now, I've got to say, I don't mind eating my words. I really don't. But Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, got to say, great first round. Both fighters using solid striking and working each other from both sides. Mir landing some solid knees off some clinching. He was really pressing Roy Nelson from the very beginning. I mean, look, I think it was Joe Rogan who raised a really good point. He said, listen, you get a 260-pound beast that's ripped at about 6-7% body fat or even 10% body fat, incredibly conditioned against a 260-pound fat dude. You can't tell me that's the same, that it doesn't have an advantage. Man, I couldn't agree more with those comments from Rogan. Joe hit it right on the freaking head, man. You're absolutely right. It's not the same. It's not the same. Your body holds itself different. It fires differently. The muscles almost have this automatic thinking and this ability to, this memory to fire. And if that muscle is supremely conditioned and is just lean and just muscular and explosive and vascular, come on, how's that the same? It's never the same. So I just felt that Frank Mir just imposing his pressure in the first round really started putting Roy Nelson in that red zone, cardiovascularly speaking. So it's very impressive to see that, and Frank Mir taking him down, beautiful judo takedown. That Hade Gosh, taking both legs out with those over-unders on that far side was just beautiful. I had my reservations for Mir coming to this fight. I have to say that, like I said, eating my words, it's a pleasure for me. Look, I'm always happy to see a fighter that's, maybe towards the end of his career or in the later stages, that if he comes out and gives a performance of his career, man, I'm never going to be disappointed to see that ever. So, Frank Mir, big payday. Holy shit, man, 250K. Man, Frank Mir, impressive. That's all I can say. The finale, or the main event, Rampage Jackson versus Matt Hamill in the main event. Great first round for Rampage. Hamill choosing wrong, in my opinion, to stand and bang with Rampage. I mean, Matt Hamill even tried the occasional takedown, but no love. I mean, the occasional takedown, Matt Hamill we're talking about. Jeez, I don't know about that. I mean, a world-class elite wrestler. Let's see what happened. Rampage is a KO artist, and it just grinds my gears when people don't show, when they want to. Here's an example. He's had some success with his striking. Okay, granted. But he's starting to just strike. And Rampage Jackson is like a knockout artist. He's one of the greatest knockout artists in the history of the UFC. Why would you want to stand there? That's just stupid. Round 2, another great round for Rampage, landing some vicious shots again. No takedowns again from Hamill. Round 3, same story. It was Rampage the whole time. He made him pay. He punished him. Hamill showed great chin and toughness, but he had a tough time with Rampage's ability to stuff the takedowns, to sprawl so well, to underhook and just throw him off, just to use that brutal Rampage strength that he has. Brilliant game plan for Rampage. He did enough. Word has it that he had a fractured left hand during the fight, so he apologized for not being able to finish, but hey, Rampage looked good, man. They also televised one prelim. It was a Gleason T-Bow against Oliveira, a great first round with both fighters. What impressed me the most about it was the fact that they were both nullifying and showcasing their jiu-jitsu levels, man. Both of them are Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belts, and it showed, man. It was a pleasure to watch. So about even in that first round. Second round, a brutal knockdown by Gleason T-Bow. I felt that Rivera made some bad choices in the fight, left himself wide open. T-Bow moving forward, pursuing the knockout. He got the TKO. So for me, a very impressive victory for Gleason T-Bow again, and it's good to see him at that cardio level in the fight. He worked very, very hard. He kept his work rate right up, forcing the mistakes and capitalized on it. So, man, he's really making a chase for that 155-pound glory. So, that's all it is for the wrap-up this time round. I mean, I've got to say, I can't wait to call the Ultimate Fighter finale fight on that one. Clay Guida, Anthony Pettis, man, headlining that event. Amazing. Obviously, Clay Guida has got an incredible work rate. His cardio is sick. His energy is sick. His wrestling is sick. His striking is sick. But it's not as good as his wrestling. Now, Pettis, man, off his back, he's a finisher. His striking is crazy. Look what he did to Ben Henderson. I've got a feeling that I think Clay Guida is going to want to entice Pettis to strike, and I think that could be a mistake because all Pettis will need is a little bit of motivation, and he can really bring the pain. So, I don't know. I think if I was Clay Guida, and if I would try that, get a bit of a range, get a sniff for the takedown, if I was eating one and a half into the first 30 seconds of the fight, man, I'm chasing that takedown and trying to force Pettis to maybe drop his hands a little bit, thinking that he's got a sprawl, and then maybe coming out with some striking over the top because Clay Guida can knock you the fuck out as well. So, man, exciting fights. It's a great card. There's a lot of great fights on that card. I'm looking forward to giving you the results of that next week. So, and also the week after that, don't forget UFC 131 Dos Santos versus Cowan. And man, have you seen Shane Cowan? Dude, that guy looks shredded. Unbelievable. He's been eating great, training well, just changing things. Isn't it amazing after all this time that we've known about science and through martial arts and through boxing or through kickboxing or through athletics? It's amazing that we're still tapping into new areas and we're going back to basics. Raw food, that kind of thing, and good training, good rest habits, good thinking. Interesting time for fighters coming up. All the young fighters out there, pay attention to that shit, man, because that is some serious shit. Nutrition, striking, wrestling, grappling, man, source it out, find it, work hard, have long-term goals, man. These days, it's going to be producing animals. Excited to see what's to come. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Frankie Barca here, episode 10. This is our 10th episode. Talk soon. Peace.